Welcome back to another episode of the Fit Family Podcast, where today we are talking through the holidays and what they will entail, what they may bring, and how to best handle them in our professional opinion. Welcome, Dan.
Thank you.
As always, this podcast is brought to you by our good friends over at BD Fitness, which is us. We do have... What do we got? Oh, we've got a 6-week boot camp coming up in January for those of you looking to start the new year. However, as always, the best time to start was yesterday. And if you feel like that you want to get some behavioral change started, if you want to get some positive benchmarks, lay the foundations for a healthy 2025, then our online personal training availability is still open until the end of the year. We will cut it off over the Christmas period just so we're not onboarding clients on Christmas Eve and Christmas Day before opening it up in January. But yeah, that's where we're at with that.
Exciting times.
It is. So let's get into it because not for some reason, because we know the reason, but December does bring a little bit of stress, anxiety, logistical challenge around your fitness and nutrition. Why do you think that is, Dan?
Oh, you're going to get me going so early.
Yeah. I'm going to get you going early. I know this is close to your heart, and both of us are fairly, I think we tend to be quite clear, and there's no grey with our views on things. However, you tend to deliver it better than me. I'm a little bit more blunt, so I'm going to let you go with it.
Obviously, there's more social events given this time of year.
Yep.
And the thing we speak to most people about is saying no.
Yeah.
So we are all in control of our own choices as adults.
Yeah, but what about when I'm really busy and I've got nights out 3 days in a row?
Yep. So you're going to break that all down and figure out what is actually important to you and what you're trying to achieve, because it's going to be different for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And you're going to base your decisions on that.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, like I always use the example with nutrition clients. If they're going out or if they've got some social occasions, it's like no one's going to pin you down and force you to eat whatever is there. So with the knowledge that you have, you can still make some pretty good decisions. And we'll get into, I guess, some specifics of that shortly. But it's more the mindset around, just occasions and always feeling as though it's outside of your control when although it's not easy, it's not as easy as eating at home. It's still in your control. So just keep that in mind as you move through and you've got occasions. If we look at it objectively, there are, most of us would eat roughly 21 meals in a week. 3 meals a day, 7 days, 21. How many of those realistically are going to be at social events or at a restaurant or, outside of your house? 5 max. How busy are you?
Yeah.
We're hermits. We like being home, but other people, if you're out and about, like how many really are going to be outside of your control? Now, it's not always as simple as that because, some meals might be more calorically dense than others and they're not all the same value. Obviously, we understand that, but there's still so much of what you can do this month that's in your control, so focus on that.
Also, when we say outside of our control, so you just use the example of the 21 days and then possibly, at our busiest time of year, 5 of those may be out. Out of those 5, how many are fully catered? Not many.
Not many.
So if you're going to a restaurant, how can you manipulate that meal to achieve what you're trying to achieve?
You can order the lean protein and veggies. That's what you can do.
100%.
Yeah.
There's so much that is in our control, but instead people move the focus to what they can't control, which doesn't really yield much benefit because you can't control it. Whereas if you shift your focus to what you can control and then adjust those behaviours, then you're going to see more of an impact in that space.
I think a lot of the stress comes from not having any confidence or not having any prior history in your ability to do it in the past. So, we get confidence from competence. So, there used to be a time where I'd be like, oh God, here comes Easter and, here comes Christmas. And until you actually build that belief in your strategy and belief in the routine, then, how would you know? but it's just one action at a time. It's like, okay, can I go out and order what I want and be comfortable with it and not overindulge and maybe say no to the extra dessert, or, just only eat half my rice portion or whatever it is, and then build a bit of self-confidence and belief off the back of action that you can then carry into the next occasion. And that's where that confidence will come from, is your ability to show yourself that you can do it. So just start with that. Just break it down into days, or break it down into single meals and single events, instead of focusing on the whole month as a whole, because it might be Everest to climb, but you just one step at a time. Keep it simple.
Also, I think people automatically go into a mindset of, writing off the next month.
Oh yeah.
It's Christmas.
Oh, okay. So this is the next part. So I want to get into your unpopular belief, because so many PTs and, people in our industry and space will be like, oh, just chill out, don't worry about it. And it's like that, it holds weight, right? Like it's not necessarily wrong, but also most people have been chilling out for years. Like the time to chill out is gone. You've been chilling out for 10 years and now you're in the position you're in. You need no more chill. You need action. So it's like, it is relevant to each individual person. It's like, if you were able to objectively analyze your health and decide, you know what I don't need? Someone telling me it's okay. I need someone to actually say, here's a bit of a strategy where you can reclaim a little bit of control over your nutrition, over your fitness, and feel good about yourself, and not hit January 1 feeling like absolute crap. Then that's what we do. He's like, I don't want to put things on the back burner, because I've put my health on the back burner for 15 years.
That's interesting, yeah.
Yeah, like now is not the time.
Yeah.
Now, if I was already, of a healthy body weight and maybe taken a little bit too far the other way, where I was, borderline orthorexia, which is a condition where it's like everything has to be healthy. It's not quite anorexia, but it's more behaviorally based in that way. Then yes, you need to absolutely, even though a PT on Instagram telling you to chill out, it's not going to help, but you need to have strategies to maybe, not worry about it as much. And that's a separate condition, obviously. But
I was about to say, this is just so individual. Like,
so individual.
If we think about us going into Christmas, like, it's not even a thought for me personally.
Yeah.
I don't go into Christmas thinking anything to do with my diet or what I'll need to do or what I'm going to eat Christmas Day, or...
You actually can't wait for it, to be honest.
I love it, because I'm going to have a great meal.
Yeah, going to have some
I'm
pasta,
looking forward
some
to
panettone.
It. Like, I think you are right. It's got to do with that confidence piece of, we know what's good for us. We know what makes us feel good, and our behaviours reflect that.
Yeah.
And, we might overeat it a little bit. That's fine.
A lot.
Yeah, it's not going to impact us in a great day. It's not going to impact our experience. We're going to have a great time with our family, which is our priority.
And in a week, everything will be back down to normal anyway. And that's just the objective measure of body weight. I guarantee, like, if you took, and I don't recommend this, by the way, but if you took a progress picture on Christmas morning and then a progress picture on Boxing Day morning, I guarantee you would not be able to know any difference despite being heavier on the scales. Like, one day is not going to make a difference. Now, if you overindulge every day from now, December 4th, until New Year's Day, I bet you will be able to see a difference. You are going to be able to see a difference. And it's that one hot day doesn't make a summer. One salad won't make you fit. One bowl of ice cream won't make you fat. That's not how this works. It's trends built up over the course of time. So if you focus on the meals where you're at home, the meals you can be prepared, you are going to be absolutely fine.
When we were talking about, we always have a pre-discussion, I guess, pre-podcast, what we're going to discuss. And
yep.
Ben was like, what are the points you want to discuss? And when we were speaking to it, you actually said to me, okay, so it's more a philosophy for us. It's that holistic, bigger picture, rather than kind of... It's funny because when we ask people for questions, they're so...
Specific.
So specific.
Yeah.
To the point where, I wouldn't have even thought to that level, because we just... Simply, our brains don't go there because of our confidence in our decisions in that space. And understanding we've obviously got a lot more knowledge in that space. And but I really do like when we see that knowledge then
start to drip feed through
drip
into
feed
our clients'
through
actions.
to our clients, their actions. And I love when we ask them questions back when they come to us with a question and then we reply with a question, and then actually getting them to dig into that knowledge bank and feed it back to us.
Yeah.
That builds their confidence.
Especially the people who have, been in our community a little while, or who have done our one-to-one nutrition coaching. When they kind of ask a question and it's more like, I think I know the answer, but I just need you to tick it. I just need that absolute confidence in my decision making there. It's like, and we have one client in particular, and I bet you're thinking of the same lady, where, and she knows our response now. She'll ask us a question and we'll be like, well, what did you do? Or what do you think? And she said, well, this is what I did. And it's like, well, yeah, absolutely.
Perfect.
Bang on.
Nailed it.
You bang on. And it's like, do you just want a pat on the back? Are we LinkedIn posting here? What are we doing? Do we want some kudos on Strava? Like, are we not getting enough compliments at home? But yeah, it is just about that confidence in your actions, but you build that through proof. If you don't have proof of your ability to eat well when you're busy, continue to exercise when you're busy, and you think that you're just going to magically do it this time without a plan or strategy, then you're a naive fool.
Wow.
Well, maybe it will work.
You weren't wrong about you being blunt. Yes.
Maybe it will work, but you need some tactics.
Yeah.
So let's talk about those tactics.
Yeah. So we're kind of talking food then. Let's talk exercise.
Yeah. So we are starting with training now.
Okay.
What would be your number one tip for holiday training? But not only holiday training, because obviously when we say that, we're not just talking about times that you're away or outside of your house environment, whatever it may be. That would be a holiday. We're talking about over a really busy period. What do you do?
So good.
Number one. Answer the question, lady.
So what can I do?
Yeah.
That's always the first thing we say to people. That mindset needs to be, what can you do, not what can't you do.
Yeah.
Okay, so obviously if your schedule's looking different, if your calendar's looking different, okay, where are you going to fit that in?
Mm-hmm.
Is this a priority? Yes, exercise is a priority to us. We know that. So where are we putting it?
Early.
Okay.
That would be my tip. Early on in the day. Not only is, we're obviously in Australia. Hello to our international listeners. But Australia, December, January, hot. Don't want to be exercising at 12 o'clock in the day. Would like to be by a beach. Would like to be by a pool. I want to get it done before breakfast, or at least by the time the clock hits the double digits. Because the longer the day goes that I haven't done it, the less likely it is that it's going to happen. And everyone will be able to relate to that. Like even nighttime trainers, maybe, they might train at 8 o'clock on Tuesdays normally in a class at a gym, whatever. That that schedule changes on holidays. You haven't worked all day. The kids haven't got basketball training, which means you can drop them and do a swim, or you'll be at home, watching a movie, or you'll be out at a barbecue. You'll be doing something else. So swap, get it done early. That's my number one tactical tip. Your philosophy tip of what can you do, not what can't you do. Like I still struggle with that a little bit. It's the best thing about something like running, where you can just take your runners and run everywhere. But I would struggle with it in the gym because I'm like, I don't have my dumbbells, or I don't have this. I can't do the bench press that I like. I can't do squats. So then it's like, what do you do?
If I think about our journey over the last 10 years, so every year we go away between Christmas and New Year. If I think about how our exercise has changed over the years, we were a lot more structured many, many years ago. We've had to become more flexible as our family's grown, as our business has changed, having less time, wanting to, when we stay away, we've got other people in the house we have to consider. Like there's so many different variables. And if I think, we used to go up, we used to plan the equipment we'd take.
Yeah, we still do a little bit of that now, but it's not quite the same because we are flexible with our styles of exercise. So we never used to run. Like the option of a 10K run would be a novelty rather than yeah, off we go, or a 5K, whatever it is, if you're trying to relate it, to your own program. But our style of training now is much more flexible, which means that we don't need the same stuff every time.
Yeah. Like I used to feel a little bit of anxiety around it, to be honest, like going
100%.
like I wanted to exercise the way I wanted to exercise.
Oh yeah.
And
I
at that
definitely relate to
time, it was weight training was really important to me. Whereas now I look forward to, I know we're going to go for a run together. Like I look forward to that's something different. It's not, I don't find it so damaging because I am quite a routine person. Like I am a little bit rigid. I like things my way.
A little bit.
I like to eat my way.
Yeah.
I like to exercise my way. But having that flexibility is just life-changing to the consistent, sustainable piece.
One of the biggest revelations, like with us, is like, okay, well, I can still do body weight stuff, but it's like, how many push-ups do I have to do before I actually get tired? It's like, for my own fitness, it's quite a lot. However, if we took away a set of rings, like it was just something easy that takes up no space that we can hang anywhere, that I was just like, oh, it's the next best thing. And thinking about that as well is like, if 5 push-ups on your toes is really challenging, then you're going to get the same strength stimulus as you would be doing in the gym. That's perfect. However, if 30 push-ups on your toes is a challenging, it's almost like the barrier to a good workout can be quite high in that regard. So you do have to find different things that will kind of give you a stimulus that you want. And if you need help with that, then you need to ask a coach, like, what is going to give me the same feeling, or what style of training can I do? Is it more tempo body weight stuff? I'm speaking to our clients now with this who are going away. It's like, what are you going to have access to? What do you want from your workouts?
Yep.
And you can get quite specific, and it's a level of programming that, the common person just can't come up with on their own. Like, it is a little bit sciencey, like, with pauses and pulses and different types of things where you can challenge your body in different ways. But just rocking up and doing an air squat is probably going to be a little bit blah for most people. Like, you do need to get a little bit inventive with the,
depending
with
where
the
you're at in your training journey.
100%.
Yeah.
With the equipment that you don't have available. Because otherwise you'll just end up frustrated and then less likely to do it again tomorrow or the next day, whatever it may be. So for those of you in our community who are going away, make sure you let us know nice and early so that we can then start to formulate some workouts for you that you'll be able to do and still get the stimulus that you're after.
Great lead into my next point is our food and our movement is our life. It doesn't go on pause for a month or 2 months.
Yeah.
That's not really how health and wellness works.
Yeah.
So again, that flexible piece, how are you going to make it work for you? Are you away? Do you have a coach? Could you use that coach? What type of workouts are you doing? What type of movement? It doesn't have to be the same. We need to be flexible enough for it to be sustainable, but it doesn't stop, is my point.
Yeah, when you say it doesn't have to be the same, I think one thing that's important to acknowledge as well is that if you're going on a holiday for 10 days or 7 days and you've trained consistently through the year, then you can have a break. So although you may not have workouts scheduled for that week, you may not need to, go to the gym, or maybe you just feel as though it's like, I just need to unwind. Your movement might look like, I'm just going to hit my steps. So it doesn't drop down to zero, but it looks different for every person based on their training history and what they've done and what they're trying to do and what helps them feel good.
Pretty much every single person we have ever trained that's gone on holidays has more movement on holidays than they do in their day-to-day life.
Oh, yeah. And,
unless they're in a resort on their honeymoon, like they're like, I can't believe the steps I'm doing and I'm loving it and I'm seeing this and I'm doing this, because people are out and about, they're exploring. It's a different type of movement. It doesn't need to be a gym session. Especially
people who are going to like touristy places. Yeah, absolutely. Like there's all these Americans online who are like, they'll talk about how they go overseas and lose weight. as like it's a crazy thing. It's like, what do they put in the food in Italy? I go over and lose weight. And it's like, no, mate, it's because you're doing 24,000 steps.
Oh, the food probably does have something to do with it if they're going from America to Italy, to be honest, Ben.
Yeah, like it would play a little factor, but like the NEAT goes through the roof, when you're through the Colosseums and the Forums. So keep that in mind as well. It's like, if you truly just want to kind of recover, restore, make sure, our guys let us know and we can give you some mobility stuff, some flows that you can, come back primed and ready to go. Because, if like all training programs need to have a little bit of a deload.
Yeah.
So a holiday is a good opportunity to have a deload.
Yeah.
Just keep that in mind as well.
Enjoy it. Don't stress about it.
Oh God. Yeah. Imagine if you came back and you're like, I
think that compounding stress effect is something we should touch on as well over the Christmas period. People stress about, I'm not in control of that meal. Oh no, I've given up this week. Oh, it doesn't matter, I'll start next week. Oh, I haven't exercised. Oh, I'm not going to the gym, so I can't go for a walk. That compounding effect of can't, that's not helping you.
No.
Yeah.
And that comes from a lack of clarity in what's actually important in, what's actually going to get you results with health and fitness anyway.
Yeah, what can I control? I'm at home for breakfast every morning. Every morning I'm going to have a good breakfast.
Yeah.
Full of protein.
Yeah.
You know what else I'm going to do? I don't need to go into the office because we're actually working from home for an extra period of time because the office closes. So I'm going to go for an extra 30-minute walk every day.
Yeah.
Like those
That all sounds like sensible stuff.
Yeah, those types of things really do pay off.
Oh, massively. And it's just removing stuff from the can't control bracket into the can control. And yeah, it's the way you feel about stuff impacts then what you do enormously. Like if you feel like you've had an absolute dog of a day of nutrition, like it's just been an absolute disaster. I was out, we overslept, so then I didn't have time for breakfast, and then we went out and all they had was muffins. I'm like, well, I need to eat something, so I had a muffin, and then we went here and they didn't have, and it's just spiraled. It's like, well, how confident are you in your ability to know? It's okay, well, I need calories to function anyway. So what? Okay.
I ate a muffin.
What's the worst thing that can happen here? Maybe I've overeaten by 300 calories. I still need a certain amount of food every day to kind of maintain my weight and my activity and my lifestyle. It's not as though that stops just because I've had a chocolate bar.
Yeah.
I don't need to burn off everything that I'm eating. I'm naturally doing that anyway. So yeah, just woosah.
I agree.
Bad Boys 2, woosah reference.
I can actually use, yesterday my day didn't really go to plan. It was a little bit different.
Today as well, you forgot your cookies.
Oh, and today as well.
Yeah.
See what I mean? But if I think about how I had to manipulate my day yesterday to do what I had to get done work-wise, exercise-wise, I never questioned would I work out. However, I didn't know to the end of the day what it would look like. Right until I actually messaged you 5 minutes before starting. And I did a late night session. I hate working out at night, for anyone that knows me.
Do you hate, but you'd hate not training more.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And all morning I've been pumped because I know I made that happen yesterday.
Boss bitch. Yeah. No, it is. And, speaking to that self-confidence that you get from competence, that is just like, that is just more proof that I am a person who says that exercise and health is important to me, but what do my actions show? And often a lack of confidence is down to the disconnect from that kind of belief versus the action. Yeah. So, all you have done there is just cement, that yes, this is a part of what I do, who I am. Yeah, and then our health is a result of what we do. It's not what we think. Yeah. It's action based. So it's like, okay, cool. Well, I am in control of my actions. And even if I just did 20 push-ups on the floor, instead of thinking about what you would do if everything was perfect, it's like, okay, well, what could I do if everything was terrible?
Yeah.
And then focus on that as my baseline. And, low expectations, key to happiness.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe we should move on. A good time to move on to questions, Ben.
Sure.
Low expectations, key to happiness.
Holiday nutrition. Now, we've got a couple of questions based around nutrition. As always, it's certainly much more of a hot topic than, I guess the nuts and bolts of training. People don't want to know sets and reps. They want to know about macros and calories. So On holiday nutrition, is there anything that you do differently? Let's just say we're staying with family at the beach house, and it's like, what do you do differently in that practice compared to what you would do at home? Specific tactics.
Well, I'm very okay with saying no to start off with. So, like, when you are around other people, that is what we find people struggle with most.
Yeah.
They feel like they need to do what everybody else around them is doing.
Or they don't want to rock the boat.
They don't want to upset anyone.
Yeah.
I don't have a problem. Saying no to anything that doesn't serve me.
Depends on the environment as well. Like, we're
achieve.
quite unusual. Oh, not unusual. I'm sure there's lots of people in the same boat where it's like we're the only ones with young kids. So eating earlier is, it's just our kids can't wait till 7:30 for dinner because they're already in bed. So eating earlier, like I like eating earlier, you like eating earlier, like we got no problem. We're just gonna eat earlier, and that's fine. It's like that's not always, I guess, that's not always an option for people when they're away, but when it is an option, do what makes you feel good. Like, it's not hurting anyone's feelings, I don't think.
No, we tend to.
And if it is, that's a them problem. Like, that's a weird thing to get hurt feelings about. It's like, it's just important that you do what keeps everyone in the house well, or everyone in your family fit and well.
Yeah, and we're fortunate enough that we stay with your family, and it tends to be meals that, like, you serve yourself. So we're not often served a portion.
Yeah, barbecue, salad.
So we always manipulate our plate
Yeah.
to reflect what we usually do, I guess. So that's always very, very handy, remembering that what are you in control of? So the meals we're not in control of, we don't think about and we don't stress about.
No, they're few and far between. Like wasted energy.
Wasted energy. We probably do we do a few extra activities that we wouldn't usually, like we might go for ice cream with the kids or something like that we wouldn't generally.
Gingerbread house breaking.
Gingerbread house, of course. How could I forget?
I love
we've got a couple of things that we do that we wouldn't normally be part of our nutrition practice. Again, we don't stress about it and we enjoy it for what it is.
Yeah, absolutely.
The plates we can manipulate. We try and keep it in line with what we do when we're at home.
Yeah.
And we just have a great time.
I think one thing that I focus on in particular when we're away, like with plates, is I would probably tend to have less carbs in my actual meals, because I know I'm probably going to have, or I'm not probably going to have, I'm going to enjoy some gingerbread later. So that, it's basically just sort of budget in my calories so that I'm not, like anything I want to enjoy is not, it's like I'm not going over and above. So like I will tend to push breakfast out into the day a little bit, like maybe after we've done exercise. Normally I'd have breakfast quite early, whereas might have it at 10 or 11 and then some fruit and then have a normal dinner and, and then I've got plenty of energy up my sleeve to have some gingerbread house or chocolates or whatever. And I know that it's not, it's not blowing out my daily intake. Yeah. So that would be something specific that I would do.
Yeah, we're very bit different that way. So remember, we're in the same house, same family, and our nutrition journeys are very different. And the way we manipulate that to suit us is very different. I don't indulge in all the stuff Ben does. I tend to have less of that.
Boring.
And I personally feel better maintaining my meals.
Yeah.
I'm not good hungry. Anyone? I think a lot of people will be able to have a laugh there.
Disaster.
I'd prefer to keep my meals more in line and have less treaty type stuff.
Yeah.
Whereas you're quite happy to have less of a meal and enjoy.
Yeah, and this sort of comes back to our more like, I guess, overall philosophy and the way we practice nutrition personally is like you're much more, not much more, but you lean more quality based, whereas I'll lean more quantity based. Like how much am I eating versus you'll look at more what am I eating.
Yeah.
And the answer for each individual is going to be somewhere in the middle of that, and you have to kind of figure out what works best. However, I'm like, I have gingerbread house for 3 days of the year. So what if I, like this is just my viewpoint. I don't feel like, for how less healthy I may feel as a result of not having what I would normally have, I'm okay with it, because the gingerbread house is yum and I like breaking it with the kids and we have a good time.
Yeah.
So it's like, I'm okay with the trade-off. It's just the price of doing business.
Yeah,
Cool.
whereas that mental side, I think, for me is more important. And remembering that we are so unique and individual and being confident in knowing what you want.
Yeah.
Like, I know after I have less optimal food, it's not that I hate it. It's not that I'm judging people. It's not that, honestly, it doesn't make me feel good.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that. And I don't like that feeling. Like, for me as a person, like, that feeling of not being in control bothers me.
Yeah.
So I just prefer not to. Like, whereas I love fruit and will overindulge in something like that because mentally it serves me.
How many people think about their food or their attitude towards food? You know, and it's not a long, drawn out philosophical thought that you have over a long drive. It literally just takes 5 minutes of introspection just to think, what is going to make me feel best about this? Probably that. Okay, I'm going to try and stick to that. But not many people ask themselves that question before they get to stuff, and then they're kind of railroaded, or they haven't got clarity in, you know, of their expectations or what's coming up or what they can expect, what they can do, what they have access to. It's not, you know, it's not a hard preparation type thought process to do, but it's super valuable. Yeah.
Ask yourself the questions and be honest with yourself. Honestly, I was writing a post yesterday talking about, again, the festive season. Like, what are you trying to achieve? Because your behaviors need to reflect that. So whereas people, that expectation piece, like people like, I'm trying to achieve X. Let's use weight loss as an example. Yet their behaviors are binge eating and binge drinking. Yes. So the expectation of losing weight, like, is that...
There's a big disconnect, and that, you know, that ultimately stops a lot of people from actually continuing with their original plan. Maybe prior to Christmas, you know, they might stop over that period, or they lose a bit of faith in their ability to stick to it. Maybe it was too aggressive, or it didn't quite have the nuance where you could kind of be a little bit more flexible and not try and lose weight over that period if you know it's going to be really hard. Right. But yeah, just actually, you know, like,
let's simplify it. So let's bring it back to that same goal. So we're just losing weight loss. So if someone's asking, if I'm asking a client that, and then I've used that example, like, maybe that's not, adjust your goal. Maybe you don't want to lose weight over Christmas. That's okay.
Yeah, in the same way we use the training, having a bit of a rest and recover.
Exactly.
Like, that's absolutely
just maintain your weight. You don't need to lose weight over Christmas.
No.
Let's not go backwards.
You don't have to lose weight at all. Like,
no.
It's not something that anyone has to do. Like, as soon as you realize that it's fine without it, it sort of takes that external pressure off, and it's like, actually, okay, well, if this is something I want to do, that's fine. But it's not something that has to be done because of what other people are, you know, like, trying to influence me to do. So, yeah, I mean, as soon as we kind of figure that out, then everything just becomes a lot easier. And I know this has been quite a philosophical discussion. I've got a funny story about you with philosophers anyway. Old Socrates over here. But yeah, there's a range of ways that you can attack this. And I think what we've probably provided is maybe a few more questions than answers. But if you do have answers to those questions, then flick them through and we'll help you come up with a plan.
Yeah.
And that plan will be so much more likely to succeed rather than just crossing my fingers and hoping I wake up on January 10 at the same weight or less than I currently am now.
Yep. Have a plan for sure.
Have a plan.
All right, back to the questions, Ben.
Community questions. Okay. When you have an upcoming event, how to prep prior to the event and avoid overindulging. So let's just say a night out.
Love it.
Tomorrow night.
Okay.
Go. What's your plan?
All right, so if I'm in control of every meal until I go out, that's great.
Yeah.
So if it's not till night time,
yep,
I know that I'm going to have a pretty good breakfast. Depending on where I train, I'd probably manipulate my carbs a little bit to be around my training.
What classifies a pretty good breakfast?
For me?
Yeah, for anyone.
Okay, so just making sure, just making sure I've got some good quality protein in there and enough to keep me full. Because generally,
how much is that?
30 grams.
Minimum.
Generally, when eating out, and especially if it's, let's pretend there's zero control at this event, so it's
banquet.
100% catered.
Yeah.
Generally, it's protein poor.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I can
Yeah, it's
expect.
the expensive part.
So
Yeah.
I'm not. I don't. My plan is to not go into that event hungry.
No one's handing out chicken breasts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whereas I know, like growing up, like when in my own family, like talking to mum, if we had something on, she's like, "Oh no, I'm not gonna eat because we've got an event later." That is the total opposite of how I would plan for an event.
Yeah.
I'm making sure that I've met all my nutritional needs and I'm not going into that event starving.
Yeah.
Because if I am, that's when I'm going to overeat.
Yeah.
And overconsume things that I know aren't optimal.
Yep. True. Like, and it depends on what the event is, as you said. Like, if it's something that you are looking forward to and you know what it's going to be, like if you're going to your favorite Italian place and you're like, okay, I'm going to have the pepperoni pizza because it's my favorite.
Yeah.
How you deal with that is going to be different to how you deal with the unknown, like you just outlined then. The unknown is I'm going to tick all the boxes before I get there and make sure I'm not starving, because I'm obviously going to be in a much better headspace and feel much more, in much more control than if I rock up and I'm like, oh, where's the arancini balls? I'm going to down the plate.
Yep.
So if you're going to, let's use Italian as an example. Obviously, it's going to be more carb heavy. So you might focus your first 2 meals of the day on protein and veggies.
Yep.
And then kind of backload your carb intake towards the end of the day.
Exactly.
Just
and
keep it simple.
I'd probably eat a little bit less. So I've got a bit more of a bank as well.
Yeah.
So not only would I change the macros,
Yeah.
I would be looking at my portions.
Naturally, changing the macros will bring down the calories anyway. Like if you have one slice of toast instead of 2, you're saving yourself 100 calories. And if you have no rice and instead had more protein and salad at lunchtime or whatever it is, then you'd be saving yourself again a couple of 100 calories. But yeah, also like if it's one event, you can use those type of tactics and it's no big deal. I think more of the stress and pressure comes from when you've got like 2 or 3 in a row.
Yeah.
And that's when you would probably follow more of that, high protein, lower carb approach during the day, just to keep some extra calories towards the back end. And that would be basically how we would do that. Make no mistake, this sort of takes practice as well, and figuring out what works for you. Like, I've tried both. It's like, okay, well, I'm just going to skip a meal. And I'm like, yeah, and cool. I smashed way too much there because I was starving. And then I've tried the other way and it's like, well, I didn't actually enjoy it as much because I couldn't have what I wanted. So it does take a little bit of flexibility.
Yeah. With me, and I think you're the same actually. Like, do we actually want it? Like, is it something we enjoy? Like, are we going for pizza, like wood-fired pizza, for example?
Yeah.
If we know it's good quality wood-fired pizza, like, we enjoy that.
Yeah.
So we're going to actually eat there. We know we're going to consume a bit there. Whereas I know if I'm going to a cocktail wedding, like, I'm happy to pick and choose a couple of little things to be polite and be, like, part of the social...
Not an oyster gal.
No, I do like oysters.
Yeah.
Be part of the event, but it doesn't interest me as in, like, I don't actually want to overindulge in that.
No. Arancini balls can get in the bin as well. Like, they always come out at these events. They're
so
no good.
Insulted about the arancini ball. I quite like a rice ball.
They suck. Anyways.
Wow.
Moving on. So, with weight loss as a goal over the festive season, how do I break habits? For example, I normally get on the plane to go home at 9 a.m. and have a wine.
I know who this is.
Yeah.
So you've done a fantastic job this year.
So just to kind of break it out and give a little bit more of a general approach, it's like, so those habits would be not overindulging in the gingerbread house down the beach and having that kind of indulgent period extend beyond just a day or two into a week or two. I think it's probably more, how can I carry over the habits that I've been doing so well at home then into the holiday period?
Yeah, so you know you can do it because you've done it. It's no different because it's Christmas. So the questions I'd be asking myself is, do I actually want that wine when I get on the plane?
Yep.
If you do, have the wine.
Yes. So the wine on the plane's more kind of like a tradition in a way of like, I'm heading home, working year's over, calendar year, and like that can be a nice thing.
Yeah,
Like
it can
one
be.
wine is
It's
no
not
big
gonna,
deal. Yeah,
yeah.
that can be a nice little a toast to heading home to see family. That's
Yeah.
fine.
If you don't want that wine, don't have it because you've always had
Yeah,
it. If this year you get on that plane and you're like, you know what, I don't feel like it.
yeah.
Don't have it because
Pour yourself a sparkling
you're on the
water.
plane.
Yeah, sparkling.
Yeah.
A little celebratory sparkling. But yeah, like for stuff that kind of has a bit of maybe a deeper meaning,
An emotional
beyond,
attachment.
yeah,
Yeah.
like just mindless drinking or mindless snacking without realizing what you're doing. Like, I think the wine on the plane at 9 a.m. just as an example, and I know I'm harping on about it a bit, but that seems like something that maybe I wouldn't necessarily focus too much energy on changing because it's got some sentimental value to the routine. So that would be fine. But it's more the stuff like I sit down at 5 o'clock and smash half a bag of twisties. I don't even like twisties, but they're there, so I'm just eating them. That's more the stuff that you'd probably want to focus your energy on.
Yeah. And talk to me. That's what, like, we are your coaches.
Yeah.
So like we can go into this in more detail, obviously outside of this forum, but they're the conversations we should be having. So you can actually have some strategies going in. So what in particular, so we've used the wine as an example, but what else happens during that period when you're home that is part of, that occasion?
I think typically for people when they go on holidays as well, a lot of good nutritional choices and a healthy mindset towards their food comes off the back of maintaining some kind of movement. So it's, like if you get some exercise in at the start of the day, doesn't matter the intensity, then you will then be more likely to make a choice in line with your overall goals and values than if you were to kind of sleep in, miss the boat on a walk, gets too hot, I've done 2,000 steps and it's 5 o'clock, stuff it. Like you end up getting to that point. So linking the two, using like 2 or 3 of those like ripple effect habits where it's like, thank you, Axel. It's like, if I just do that one thing, then everything else good happens, and focus on those. Just simplify your approach down to 2 or 3 really key things.
Yep.
Next question. We've kind of answered the question, but I'm interested in the wording. Okay, so how to survive by maintaining weight the holiday.
Okay, I think we have.
Yeah, we have kind of touched on that, but also survive. Who's dying? Like the level of, emotive language that we apply to these types of things, like it builds up the drama in our heads. Like it turns it into a big deal. And then we stress more about it. Like, I'm not surviving. It's like, hold on a second. You are surviving.
You are thriving, actually, this person.
This person who's asked this is thriving. And there can be a little bit of a stress about not wanting to take a step back. I totally get that. This is the first holiday period after they've seen such awesome results on the one-to-one program. So it is new ground a little bit, but just take the principles that you know and apply them in a different setting. Get through, assess, learn your lessons, and off you go. That is like, it is as simple as that. You certainly don't need to survive. You're doing a very good job. Survive, yeah. Such a motive marketing spiel, isn't it? How to survive. Okay. Also, is it best to just stay the same weight than to try and do my head in and try and lose weight at the same time?
We advise never doing your own head in.
I was going to say, if it's going to do your head in, then we just advise maintain your weight and enjoy your holiday.
Enjoy.
If it's going to be something that's relatively turbulence free, like it's not a massive change to your overall routine, then you can power on.
Yep.
Power on.
It is very individual. I didn't see who actually asked that.
It was the same person who asked about the old wine on the plane.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would maintain and enjoy.
Yeah, maintain and enjoy. Give yourself a little bit more leash. Like when people maintain their weight, it typically means
maintaining is winning, by the way.
Yeah, every year we get older, people gain weight not even doing anything. So if you maintain your weight for the next 5 to 10 years, do you know how far ahead of the curve that puts you? Like the average person? I know we don't always need to compare to the average person because, it's not a high bar, but it's also like, it's important to know where you kind of fit and just how well you're doing. The answer to that one is in the question. If it's going to do your head in, just pull back and maintain. Here's a good one. How to modify workouts when away from a normal gym weights pool. We touched on that early. this person who asked this is one of our online PT clients. How to modify? It's like, brother, just message us. We'll do it for you.
We'll modify for you.
We will modify for you. But yeah, again, it's like it can be as simple as, okay, a bench press is a chest and triceps exercise. Is there a body weight version I can do? Yes, I can do push-ups.
Yeah.
I want to weight it up a little bit. Do I have a 20-kilo child who can jump on my back while I do them? Like it's just little things like that. It doesn't, it's not the bench press that is the benefit. It's the, it's the load through the upper body that's the benefit. There are plenty of different ways to find the same stimulus without doing that exercise. Yeah. The bench press is just a means of challenging your upper body.
Perfect. Well done. You articulated that very well.
Thank you. Don't like the tone of surprise, but all good. All right, we'll catch you on the next one. As always, guys, if there was anything specific in that to you and you'd like to ask some more questions, we are just a message away. Happy to jump on a call with any of you at any time.
Exactly.
Chat soon.
Bye.